Welcome back to another episode of Rake Your Position, where four lifelong friends like to talk about baseball and live their dreams from the comfort of the chair. I'm Aaron, your host.
I'm Joe, the groundskeeper. P for power, baby.
I am Jay Lee, the rover.
And I'm Corey, the stat man, with a new rake.
Hey!
All righty. Well, hey, let's kick off this week's episode by rounding out our top five rankings this week. A lot of familiar faces, but different votes for some other teams. So let's just check it out. Coming in fifth this week with 6 votes, this team got a third place vote and 5 fifths. So it's the first time this team has been voted by all 4 guys, and that's the LA Dodgers.
Wait, did you say 5 fifth place votes?
Excuse me, 3 fifth place votes and 1 third. I don't know what I said.
Okay.
But they got
We have extra people on the pod.
They got
Jim Raynor
4
had a vote.
votes. For the first time ever, the Dodgers, they have been in first place for a few days, and they're getting some love in our rankings. Staying on in 4th place this week with a third and 2 fourths, and somebody did not vote for them, is the Texas Rangers. In 3rd place, you're mouthing me already.
Because I know who you put on there instead of the Rangers.
The eyes of the Ranger are upon you.
In 3rd place, staying strong, Baltimore Orioles. They got 2/3, a 4th, and a 5th. So it's the first time they've received 4 votes as well. Braves got all 2nd place votes. Rays got all 1st place votes for the 2nd week in a row. Those 2 teams at the time, or for the time being, have separated themselves in each league, it seems like. We've talked about them a lot, so I don't know if you guys get anything else to share about the 1st and 2nd place teams before we move on to the bottom 3.
Has anybody looked at the ESPN power rankings?
Nope.
I haven't either. I didn't know if we were better than them or if we were about the same.
Of course we're better than them.
Yeah.
Ours are right. Theirs are wrong.
Well, the 3 of us have at least the right 5 teams, and one of us is close.
Yeah, so I'll just
So that ain't bad.
6 teams received votes, and there's 5 on the rankings. So obviously, I voted for the Diamondbacks yet again. I voted for them every week. I still gave them a 4th place vote, and I put the Dodgers 5th because when I voted, it was just a half game separating them. And I just feel like the Dodgers had surged the top, beating up on the Central. And we all saw how great the Central is over the last 10 games collectively. So I never voted for the Pirates. The Dodgers beat up on the Pirates, so I had to stick with my Diamondbacks in that 4 spot. So yes, everybody else voted for these 5 teams.
Yeah, and you at the beginning, what was it, Wednesday or Thursday of last week, in the text chat, you're like, "Hey, is anybody going to vote for the Diamondbacks with me?" And we all said no. So we all.
I heard you. I was asking.
I know, but I don't know. They're not. I don't think they're a top 5 team, and you just continually vote them in the top 5. I don't know how you don't put the Rangers there.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I didn't respond for the record, which classifies as a no.
That's true. When I voted, let me pull up Texas right now. When I voted, Texas is staying on top. Diamondbacks have been on top almost the entire year. 3 games, I think, they haven't been in first place since they took it over. And they've been beating teams that are probably in the playoffs. Texas hasn't had the toughest schedule.
Can you tell me what Texas' run differential is?
I don't know. The Cubs had a +30 against Oakland. It doesn't. I mean, you got to look at who they play.
I understand, but there's such a discrepancy between Arizona's run differential and Texas's run differential. I just don't know how you're justifying, especially in putting the Dodgers, forgetting Texas, putting the Dodgers 5th and the Diamondbacks 4th.
Here we go. Texas has played 12 games against Kansas City and Oakland out of 30. It's almost half their games have been against the 2 worst teams in baseball.
Okay, then let's talk about the Dodgers.
They went 11-2, 8-5, 4-0, 12-2, 12-3 against Kansas City. Right there's +50 just against Kansas City. Okay. They beat Oakland 18-3 and 5-2. So right there in those 2 games, 23-5 run differential. That's +18.
Give it up, Cooney. Give it up.
Against Oakland. So
yeah. It's 3-1. The Rangers should be there. Again, I don't know how you put the Dodgers behind them. The Dodgers have a +48 run differential. The Diamondbacks have 8. You have
I
some
didn't
sort of
want
like
to vote for the Dodgers either.
you have like some sort of obsession with the Diamondbacks. It's okay to admit it. It's fine. But
I think what they got going on is working, and they're exciting to watch. And they
You
have been in first just as much as anybody else besides
well,
Tampa and
the
Atlanta.
power rankings reflect current, and currently they have now went to second place. But you
Correct.
did mention that there's some separation starting to happen. We're getting enough into the season to kind of see that. Good for some teams, not good for others.
Some teams are separating themselves from the pack.
Yeah. So,
And
our
the
top
Cubs are
fives has
fixing 'em.
stayed the same for mostly. I mean, our top two teams for sure. And I don't know. We'll see how it plays out coming, but starting to see some separation.
Yeah, I didn't think to look. So last week, the Pirates came off. They were on there for 2 straight weeks, and then just got replaced by LA this week. So yeah, for the most part, our rankings have been the same. 3 or 4 teams with that 5th team rotating on and off whoever's hot that week when we vote. So I
Mhm.
like it. Any other final thoughts on that?
Go Baltimore.
Yeah, I think three of us are better at this than the other one. But that's
And I
kind of,
text you guys, whoever wins this series is getting second place between Baltimore and Atlanta. Baltimore was a joy to watch. That was fun baseball all weekend.
it's
I'm
only
excited to
going
see
to
what
get
they
more
end up
fun.
doing.
Yeah. All right. So I actually have a top 5 of my own that I created by myself without your guys' input. Trying to keep it topical. I wanted to give a shout out. I know we talk about each other's our moms a lot, and Mother's Day is coming up. So I wanted to I put together my own little Joseph Otwell PowerPoint. And it is MLB players who love their mom and or grandma the most based on their performance on Mother's Day. So just kind of wanted to highlight highlight some players that obviously love their moms or grandmas a lot because they step it up when it's Mother's Day. So the first one I've got here actually happened last year, and it's Juan Yepes. The other thing that's great about Mother's Day, I think, is the pink accessories. But Juan debuted on May 4th, which, in case you guys didn't know, is Star Wars Day. I know you guys aren't quite familiar with that topic.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, of last year. And he loves his mom so much, he waited until Mother's Day when she was in attendance to hit his first home run. So Juan, yeah,
Attaboy Juan.
loves his mom.
Take some more of those homers.
Yeah, well, everybody would take more homers. The 4th best Mother's Day performance happened in 2007 by Torrey Hunter, who's also good at defense. He
Man,
had
what a beast.
Yeah, he very good. I think still underrated. Like if I had to, if just based on what people think about Torrey Hunter, but he had 2 home runs, 7 RBIs on Mother's Day in 2007. It was actually the 2nd best performance on Mother's Day in 2007, and he also loves his mom.
Is that him high-fiving his boy or your boy?
That's
Is that Joe
actually
Mauer?
I cut out Joe Nathan. I don't think
Looks
that's
like
Joe
Nick
Mauer.
Punto.
It does kind of
I
look
think
like
it might
Nick
be
Punto.
Mike Redmond if I had to guess.
Mm.
Oof.
The best performance on 2007 Mother's Day came from Fred Lewis. He hit for the cycle and went 5 for 6 on the day. His other extra hit was a single, so he had 2 singles and then a double triple homer. He had the double triple homer in the first 5 innings. He went on to hit 27 career total home runs. Again, this was the best performance on Mother's Day in 2007. Fred Lewis opened a daiquiri shop in Gulfport, Mississippi in 2019. If you guys are ever in the area. And he loves his mom probably. I could find quotes about people talking about their Mother's Day performances from everybody else on this list besides Fred Lewis. So I can't confirm, but I imagine Fred Lewis loves his mom because he hit for the cycle on Mother's Day.
Can't confirm or deny.
Yes. 2nd best performance on Mother's Day was by Joey Votto, the Mountie. He hit 3 home runs on Mother's Day in 2012 with a walk-off grand slam to win the game 9-6.
Dang, how's that not number 1?
Because you'll see. Stay tuned to find out. He went on to hit 342 career total home runs. He's Canadian. He also played point guard in high school and scored 37 points in a game once. And he also loves his mom.
Man, before
job,
you go to the
Joey.
next one.
Yep.
First off, super beast.
Yes.
And then begs the question, because we love this question: Hall of Famer or nah?
I think so.
I'd vote
Canadian
no.
Hall of
I mean,
Fame
I'd
for
have to
sure.
look at the stats, but
Maybe
I
not
feel
first
like-
ballot.
I mean, I've always
he's got
don't like
that
the
one
Reds.
team. He's got that one team thing going for him, but
Yeah.
he's got no rings. He's really slowed down. He's not at 500 or 1500. I don't think. I would vote
Don't like
no.
the Reds, but always love Joey Votto.
Mm.
First baseman is loaded with sluggers. And he's not going to be close to 500 homers. That's going to be tough because he's different than every other first baseman.
Yeah. His average is I would
Mhm.
assume a lot better.
Yeah.
All right, grand
That's
finale.
Frank.
Yes, the best performance on Mother's Day. 2010, Dallas Braden throws a perfect game, 6 strikeouts. The game took 2 hours and 7 minutes without a pitch
Dang.
clock. He has 0 total career hitting home runs.
Weak.
Oh,
His catcher for the day, Landon Powell, had been in the bigs for 18 days. Fun fact about Dallas Braden, he doesn't like A-Rod on his mound.
mm-mm.
He's actually seen pictured here hugging his grandmother on Mother's Day after his perfect game. He loves his mom and his grandma. Would anybody like to take a guess on the attendance for this game on Mother's
That
Day,
game?
Sunday, 2:00 start?
Well, it looks pretty full up there.
Yeah, I'll say-
18,912.
2010.
I'll
I'll
go
say
12,500.
I'll say 28,000.
It was almost 12,300 people.
Oh, wow.
So
I
Was
win.
the
Thank
A-Rod
you.
thing that day too?
no, this was after.
Okay.
He no hit the Rays.
Gotcha.
So then yeah, it was a fun thing. He's basically become an athletics folk hero, I think,
Mhm.
essentially from this game. But
He has fun on Twitter
Yeah.
with it too.
yes, so that was my fun little shout out to mothers everywhere. My mom, my
This-
wife, everybody else's moms.
Was amazing. Yes,
yeah.
shout out to all the moms. Mom,
Love
I
you, Mom.
I love you. And if
Love
I
you,
ever played
Brenda.
on Mother's
Love you,
Day,
Becky.
I'd
Love you, Tammy.
probably bet the exact same as I did in high school. So not great, but I still love you.
Yes, exactly. You know, all these people have showed their moms how much they love them based on their performance on Mother's Day. I hope my mom and my wife both enjoy their potted plants. That's
The
about all.
go-to gift.
Yep. But so I just again wanted to highlight Mother's Day coming up, have a little fun. We are going to move on to a little bit more serious topics now. I sent
And
the
normally I
guys-
don't care for your surprises like this one, but that was pretty cool, Corey.
Yeah, thanks.
Earlier surprises suck, but hey, not bad.
Yeah. I am gonna
Corey,
leave
you
the
need to
No, I'm
oh,
gonna
you're
leave
leaving
this
this
up.
up?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So just for the video, and then I'll post this maybe on Twitter in response to whenever we put the podcast up. But I shared this picture with you guys already. It is mystery catcher stats because we're going to talk about Willson Contreras because everybody's talking about Willson Contreras, former Cub, current Cardinal. We got 3 guys here who are pretty familiar with Willson Contreras, and one of them who's familiar with William
former
Contreras.
catcher.
But basically, kind of how I wanted to start this discussion off is pose to you guys 1, 2, or 3. If you had to choose a starting catcher on your team, which one would you choose? And you know, we're looking at mostly defensive stats here: arm exchange, pop time, framing runs, blocks. And then I've got catcher ERA and staff ERA. And then this basically shows you the difference in these two. So if it's a positive, that means that the pitcher's pitched better with that particular catcher. If it's negative, that means the pitcher's pitched worse with that catcher. And I did want to include offense a little bit. So the last column is OPS.
I'll take number 3, Bob.
Okay. Jaylee's taking 3.
Yeah,
I'm
I
taking
mean,
number 1, which is Wilson, isn't it?
Well, I need the answers
I
from
think,
everybody.
yeah, I think it's pretty obvious who's who here. At least number 1 and number 2.
I'll still stick with 3.
I think we're all taking number 1 all day.
Okay. So we got
Who
2
number
1s and 1
5?
3. So
Can we
one.
guess who they are?
Sure.
I think 1 is Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
2, I think maybe Martin Maldonado, and 3 is Yadier.
2 is Kisner.
Yeah, 2's definitely Kisner.
Okay,
So
Just look at that
Um,
OPS. That's all you need to look
that's
at.
why I
for
went
that.
Martin.
so we actually here I'll expand all of this here for you. It has all the particular stats here.
Yeah.
But so there you got Wilson. Kisner, Yadi. I mean, Yadi. These stats are not kind to Yadi because it is just 2016 to 2022.
Mhm.
Kind of the one point I wanted to make with this is that I think no matter who.
Corey,
Yep.
can you, for the listeners, can you give just a real quick overview of why you're bringing this up? Or maybe you're getting into that, but
Sure.
maybe our viewers don't know exactly why we're talking about
Yeah.
this.
So kind of elevator pitch here. Willson Contreras got signed to an 8-year, $87.5 million contract.
5-year.
5-year, sorry. 5-year, $87.5 million contract by the Cardinals. And it was said repeatedly, I think, that he was coming there to be their catcher to replace almost certainly future Hall of Famer Yadier Molina.
Almost.
I think he's already in.
I'm in. I'm in. That's I just don't want all of our fans
mean-
to yell at me if they don't agree with me, like my mom. But
Mom's not a Yadier fan. Okay.
yeah. 33 games into the season, he has been relieved of his catching duties and is primarily DHing. They have mentioned that there is a long-term plan to get him back into catching, which for a 31-year-old player on a 5-year contract, trying to get him back into the most physically demanding position on the field with a long-term plan seems like a bad path. But the point, kind of the most important point I wanted to bring up is that I think no matter who came in to this role after Yadier Molina, it was a no-win situation for him. There was no possible way that somebody was going to come in and the Cardinal pitchers and the Cardinal fans were going to like them or appreciate them or think that they are anywhere close to what Yadier Molina was doing. And I would agree with that defensively, but I think the important thing that again, kind of that last column in the OPS is that for the past 6 years, Yadier Molina has basically been a liability at the plate, which, like we've mentioned in the past episode, is okay for catchers. But I think, again, comparing those stats, Wilson's defensive stats in the past 6 years, again, comparing to end of the career Yadier Molina, are not that much worse. So this year, let's see, Willson does have a catcher ERA. I didn't include 2023 just because Yadier Molina doesn't have any 2023 stats. Willson has a catcher ERA of 5.27, and then the staff ERA is 4.48. So the staff is bad anyway, no matter who's catching. And Willson didn't get to work with a lot of them throughout spring training or for some of spring training because they were pitching in the WBC. So it's to me, it seems like relieving him of his duties 33 games into the season is the opposite of what you want to do, unless they are just working a lot kind of behind the scenes and on off days, like together. Like you want that familiarity to grow. But he is, it seems like the scapegoat of the start of the Cardinal season. And again, to me, it maybe if it was Kisner, like if it was an internal guy that came in and took his position because the Cardinals fans were familiar with him and the staff was familiar with him, if that guy didn't perform, maybe that wouldn't have been a scapegoat. But if they would have gotten Contreras or if they would have got Murphy or whoever, people would have found a reason to not like them as much as they did Yadier Molina because he is a folk hero in St. Louis.
To disagree with that a little bit, I don't think when they signed Willson Contreras that Cardinal fans, whoever they would have signed, I disagree that the Cardinal fans were going to be disappointed with it. When we signed Willson Contreras, it was, almost all the Cardinal fans I know were pretty ecstatic about it. We had watched Yadier not be able to hit, not be able to run. He's still Yachty and he's so respected in the clubhouse. He brings that to the team, but I would disagree. I think Cardinal fans, if people were playing at career norms, I think Cardinal fans would be ecstatic about it. So I would probably disagree with that a little bit, but obviously that's not happening. I
Well,
think
Wilson has said
scapegoat,
that
that's what
a
it
lot
is.
of people have been reaching out to him. A lot of fans are talking kindly to Wilson on social media and stuff and being positive. So yeah, it's not. I still don't think it's the fans. I think the fans realize it's not his fault.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the Cardinals were 10-24, and leadership took a pretty weak excuse and made a scapegoat rather than firing somebody. They said, "Oh well, let's blame our 1.9 whips on the new catcher when he's not the one giving up hits and walking people."
Yeah, I think maybe lumping the fans into that might have been a stretch on my end, but it does, like, so Wainwright comes back and makes his first start, and Contreras doesn't catch him. Like, I don't know. Again, it's like if you want these pitchers to like throwing to him, they have to throw to him, and it's yeah. I mean, like Jared said, I gave the best advice. And what was that, Jared? On a mound visit?
I don't remember.
It
For
was
mound visits?
Yeah, for mound visits, catching advice to your pitcher.
Throw strikes
Yeah. So
That's a good one.
engraved in my brain. I think what it is for me is when I was sick, I always watched the soap opera that was on, and my grandpa always said, "Oh, your grandma wants to watch this soap opera," and he wanted to watch it too. Well, what it is like sand in the hourglass, so are the days of our lives, and that is what the Cardinals franchise is. It's insane. I think the Contreras thing is, like, to Corey's point, a huge scapegoat. Like, sure, Yadier was this huge leader in the clubhouse, but where's Arenado? Where's Goldschmidt? I mean, I know Wayno was hurt, but he's back. Like, to me, there's your leadership. And I think Marmol's lost the clubhouse. I mean, Marmol to me lost the clubhouse back in the last postseason when he made the horrific pitching decisions against the Phillies, and he still makes those to this day. So to Joe's point, Contreras isn't the one leaving these pitches down the middle to just get sent 450 feet. Like, maybe he's not calling the same pitches that Yachty would call, but like, it's not his problem. And then that's the frustrating part is they're trying to blame it on something, and they're not looking at the right piece. And that's the Cardinals for you.
Yeah, and we talked about this in our chat a little bit. Like, these are veteran pitchers. They can call their own game, or they can shake off Contreras if they don't like it. Like, you're telling me Matz and Mikolas and Flaherty. Now, I know Wayno hasn't pitched to him yet. Like, those three guys need
Montgomery,
help.
yeah.
Yeah, no. Like, that's ridiculous. But I do think you made a good point, Corey, about the WBC. I hadn't thought about that. Like, the Cardinals sent the most players to WBC, and a lot of those were pitchers. Mikolas and Wayno started for the U.S. Bullpen arms were gone. Gallegos was gone. So that's an interesting thought that these guys didn't get a chance to work with him that much. But yeah, if you're 10-24, why not work with him now? Like, it can't get worse. So might as well spend this whole year getting used to it.
And what I mean by soap opera is, like, I've never seen from this Cardinals franchise more managers, players speak out of the clubhouse, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you got a problem with the way Contreras calls pitches, like, if you're Wayno, like, hey, like you said, he's never pitched to him, but let's say Wayno goes in like, hey, in this scenario, I don't like calling this pitch. Maybe we should call this one. Or to your point, like, a veteran pitcher can shake you off and be like, no, I want to throw this pitch. Oh, okay. Like, I don't know. It's weird. So
yeah, it's just
frustrating.
something
It's more like it.
we've never seen from the Cardinals really ever. Like, they've always kind of been a very well-run franchise. It just seemed like, and I was thinking, like, you think late 90s, early 2000 Yankees, like, if Posada wasn't a good defensive catcher, are the pitchers gonna have enough clout to basically sit him? Like, I don't know. It's just kind of, they seem like, I don't want to call them babies, but they do kind of seem like babies. Whoever is making this decision, it might not, because I think, like, Wayno and Flaherty, it sounded like, had a meeting with them, and so they're maybe on board with helping him out. But and when Contreras signed, he talked about how he was happy to be going to the Cardinals, and it was a better, more well-run organization. And then this is happening to him, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, what's going on?
I think it's Mosaic. You're the leader. You can't let your coach trash talk your players in the media. And players are coming out like we're all huge Wayno fans. What he said about we're getting him caught up to speed, it sounded like you're treating a 19-year-old rookie with kid gloves. Like one of these days he'll figure it out. He's never heard this before. He's a 31-year-old World Series catcher. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And
So sorry, go ahead.
well, I was just saying, and taking him out of catcher to put him at DH as a team, I think we talked about this. I can't remember who it was with, but your team's going to be worse defensively now. Like, what? I'm curious to see how it's going to work because that forces Gorman to play second. Edman has to play short because Edman and Gorman are only two hitting besides Contreras and Goldie. Goldie's doing okay. So those guys.
Paul DeYoung's not doing bad.
Yeah, yeah. So it should be Paul at short and Tommy at second right now with Gorman DHing. But so now you're forcing your second baseman to play outfield. You're forcing your DH to play second. So how does that help your pitchers? Matt's his ground ball. Wayno, not going to strike people out. So now you got Gorman out there trying to play second. It doesn't.
I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing too. The Cardinals don't have a strike 'em out pitching staff. That's all contact pitchers. So I guess this poses my question with all of this. Do you think the same thing would happen with Contreras if the NL didn't have a DH? Do you think they would sit him and have Kisner play catcher and have Contreras on the bench, or do you think he'd put him in the outfield or something?
He'd be in the outfield.
Well, he would be in the outfield on a team that didn't have 8 outfielders already. Like the Cardinals have so many outfielders.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's just a mess. I'm gonna. I don't want to cut you off, but I'm going to segue talking about some other young guys.
Real quick before you do the segue.
Yeah, go for it.
And Corey, you made mention that catcher's the hardest position on the field. I would fire back with as a groundskeeper and having been one for a long period of time, over 20 years, I would say that that's a disservice to all the groundskeepers out there who keep
that's fair.
A several 100-yard field up and running.
I apologize to
maybe it's the groundskeeper's fault. Maybe they're not doing a good job in that catcher's box.
Yeah.
Hey, we could start an epiphany. We could start a traveling, like how to rake your position training course where we go around to all the MLB teams. Let me write this down.
Yeah.
Maybe
There you go.
pay for
We'll
that.
fix your catcher problem.
Jared, can you write this down for us too?
Yeah, I got it. So we'll do it like hang on here, Coach Kent Murphy style.
Yeah.
YouTube videos.
Luigi.
Traveling.
Kent Murphy traveling circus crossover.
Traveling circus. Yeah, got it. All right.
Perfect.
Corey,
thanks.
can you get 3 more of those rakes?
Yeah, they're expensive rakes.
Who is it? Hey,
Yeah, I
who's
was
that
gonna
rake
say,
from, by the way?
listeners, if you could donate.
Yes, this rake
Yeah.
is from my brother. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks,
He listens to every pod or watches every pod twice, so he's at least 2 views on every video.
Nice.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Best listener.
We need to figure out what
Gosh, that's
store,
gross.
what brand is that? Let's see if we can get some sponsors.
It's Corona, so
Ooh.
Is
yeah.
that like
They make
fiberglass
rakes?
handle too?
I thought
It's a different font. I'm telling you, I looked it up. It's an expensive rake. I don't know if you guys can
all right,
afford it.
man. Thanks, Ben. Only the best
All right,
here at
thanks,
rake
Ben.
position.
Can't wait to see that sign wherever you're going, from what I hear.
Houston.
Yeah.
Houston on Monday. Look for Ben.
Houston.
So as we finish up our conversation about the Cardinals and we talked about the Cubs and White Sox last week, we're great guys at fixing every team's problems. And so just as we were talking about the Cardinals, man, there are some great AAA guys that if they were called upon should start right away for the Cardinals and would fix some of these problems. One, of course, look at Jordan Walker's stats. He got sit back down. Not pretty. But that's just another one of these outfielders that they got to figure out how they're going to play if Contreras is taking up the DH spot. But a couple other Cardinals, and I'm highlighting some NL Central top prospects that could be called up any minute to fix or to jumpstart these teams because the Central for the last 10 days collectively has been under 500 the last 10 days. And so somebody's got to win this division. And really the Cardinals aren't
Nobody
out
wants
of it yet.
to.
Nobody wants to, but somebody has to. And so really the Cardinals aren't out of it. They still have the best lineup on paper Arenado can't have a sub 700 OPS the whole year. I don't think.
Watch
It's so like if last year, as an example, the Braves called up Michael Harris and Vaughn Grissom, two rookies they weren't really expecting to count on in May with Michael Harris and later on Vaughn Grissom. And it kind of jump started and solidified their lineup, and they never looked back and were able to chase the Mets down. And so there's a couple of teams here, the Cardinals, the Pirates, the Cubs already called up a couple guys, and the Reds that are able to call these young guys up to jumpstart their season here in May. And so with the Cardinals, two guys just want to throw out there, and you guys are Cardinals fans, you know more about them, but Mason Wynn at shortstop's electric with the glove, and is OPS in 744 in AAA. Now, right now, I think you would put him at short and Edman at second, with Gorman DHing and Contreras catching. Of course, this is a moot point if Contreras is stuck at DH, but that makes your defense. Oh, did I freeze? Are we there? Okay.
We're good here.
My screen froze. Okay. That obviously makes your infield defense amazing, as Jared just said. Cardinals don't have a lot of strikeouts in the rotation. So you put Wynn at short and Edmonds Gold Glove back at second with Arenado and Goldie. That's the best infield defense in the league, arguably. So that'd be an interesting one if they pull trigger on that. But obviously, Matthew Liberatore is a guy that should have already had a chance. Yeah, my computer is like not working. So I was trying to pull up Liberatore stats. There it goes. 2.77 ERA in AAA right now. He's already had some seasoning in the bigs. And when you look at a Cardinals rotation that only has two guys with ERAs under 4, it blows my mind that this guy's not getting a chance yet. And he's actually a decent strikeout pitcher, so that could help them. So what do you guys think about those two Cardinals rookies? Any thoughts on those guys? You guys know them better than I do.
I mean, Mason Wynn's most popular for as hard as he can throw, but I mean, from watching him in spring training and stuff, like it's not just his arm, like his glove's electric. He's got a little bit of pop in the bat. So I mean, to me, it makes perfect sense why he shouldn't be up playing shortstop for the Cardinals. But again, I think there's a lot more going on with that.
Yeah.
We can lead on to. And I mean, Liberatore is just, I mean, he's been consistent ever since. I mean, I know he had a little bit of a rough start when he came up last year, but to your point, like we have two pitchers with you said under 4 ERA. So I mean, like it's mind blowing that we're just looking at that and not giving him a chance to come up and improve this. So
he's 23. It's not like a 19-year-old kid that you're trying to force to the majors. Like it's his time.
You know, with Wynn, they're giving DeYoung one more chance, which is probably one more than he deserves, but he's seasoned it. I'll give him that, you know, until he doesn't hit. I think you let him continue his hot streak, because we all know, what do we all know?
You hit, you play.
You hit, you play.
Oh, I was going to say, I thought we were talking about DeYoung specifically. Like he'll go on a hot streak and then he'll just be crap the rest of the year.
Yeah,
so,
but
sorry.
he hits, he plays, and then he gets brought back later.
So
I think DeYoung should just get called up for the Chicago when he plays at Wrigley, and that's it, because he dominates Wrigley, and then everywhere else he's poop.
You know, I think you leave Mason down to get at bats every day. I think he would probably struggle. And how old is Mason? Like 21?
Yeah, Mason's 21, so he's younger.
Pretty young.
I understand that.
Liberatore, I think all day. Yeah, his next start should be in the bigs. I've read a few articles where they say his average velocity is up a couple miles an hour. He throws hard all game. Like Cooney said, his strikeouts are there, and he's kept his other numbers down because he has struggled in the high minors the past couple years, but he's killing it this year. And I don't think we have to go look at the current Cardinal rotation to figure out he's probably would be the best pitcher there.
Yeah. I mean, his walk rate in the minors is 3.1. He's at 3.5, so about the same. But his strikeout rate for 5 years in the minors, 9.3. He's at 11.8 right now. So he's getting 2.5 more strikeouts per 9.
Yeah, he won like minor league pitcher of the month, right? The first month. So yeah, I mean, it's just like
so.
what do we? How do you look at the rotation and then look at him and then not be like, oh, this guy could help us, obviously. hey, we're 10-24. Why don't we bring this guy up instead of sit our catcher? I don't know,
The
man.
Cardinals will bring up Libator and be like, "Hey, we think you're better at third base."
Yeah, Arenado's
The
not getting
first
it done.
lefty
Sorry.
third baseman.
And what's interesting was we talked about the Cardinals last week. We kind of foreshadowed and asked the question: hey, should the White Sox sell? Man, I think by the end of May, we might be asked about the Cardinals, which would be weird because I don't remember the last time the Cardinals sold. But
Never, dude.
you obviously have outfielders you could sell to make room for Walker. These guys have done it before and they're still relatively young. You can get stuff for them. The young, sell him while he's hot as soon as you can. Maybe even Gorman if you're gonna. I mean, you get a lot of value for Gorman right now if you're gonna DH Contreras because you're stuck with Arenado and Goldsmith at the corners. So yeah, that'll be an interesting conversation. But just highlighting a few other teams in the Central real quick. You know, the Pirates. My computer's not working. The Pirates have held on to first place through this miserable last week of NL Central play. Catching is one of their weakest spots. Austin Hedges has the most games caught for them right now, and he's got a 405 OPS. So it's awfully a spot. Hedges is known for his defense, obviously, but they are loaded at the catcher position in the minors. Henry Davis is at Double-A. He was I think their first round pick a couple years ago. In Double-A right now, he's got a 1.174 OPS, and he's always been known for his defense. So, you know, they could call him up soon. And they have another catcher, Indy Rodriguez. Yeah, it's not working right now. I believe he's in Triple-A, maybe Double-A as well. But he's got a 760 OPS right now, and he can also play the outfield. He's an athletic switch hitter. So they got two guys that can call up real quick to fix their biggest need in the Central in their lineup to keep them going. And then the Reds had the best week at 5-5 the last 10 games. But their infield is pretty poor. Jonathan India's playing well, and Spencer Steer's bouncing back and forth between third and short. But this is just their AAA infield right now. Matt McClain playing second and short has a 1.139 OPS, and he's 23, so he's ready. Ellie De La Cruz breaking every StatCast record for the MLB, and he hasn't even played in the bigs yet. He's 21 in AAA with the .929 OPS, plays short and third. Christian, make sure I say his name right. Christian Encarnacion Strand is in AAA, third baseman. He's got a 1.142 OPS.
Encarnacion.
I knew it was coming. And then, of course, Noel V. Marte, the big piece come from Seattle. He's in Double-A, middle infielder with an 829 OPS. So they got four infielders sitting there that if the Cardinals aren't smart for the month of May, the Reds and Pirates start calling these guys up. Of course, we know the Cubs called up Mervis and Morel, so they're getting a head start fixing their major league issues with their prospects. And the Brewers started with Terang and Weimer, I think's his name, right off the bat, calling those guys up. And so the other teams are going with the young guys to fix their lineups, and the Cardinals are sitting back and waiting. So the Central could be a lot of fun because we all picked the Cardinals to win the Central, and they still could, but these other teams are being more aggressive with these young players, and there's a lot of young talent. So I know, Corey, I know you know a lot of those names. If you got any other prospects or any thoughts on those, the other Central prospects.
No, I mean, I think the Reds, you know, when you mentioned De La Cruz yesterday, and we both kind of agreed that we don't see him coming up anytime soon just because why rush him? But that was before I realized the Reds were only 5 games back. So it's just, he gets a lot of comps to O'Neill Cruz. I think he's a big body guy that is going to try and stick at shortstop similar to O'Neill. But, you know, I think a lot of people might see him projecting more as like a third baseman just because of his size. Yeah, I mean, the Cubs have some more guys. I think it's outfielders mostly. And, you know, as long as Bellinger and Suzuki are healthy, I don't really see a spot for them. Although they do keep putting Eric Hosmer at DH for some reason. So that could be... That's another topic for discussion. Yeah, well, yeah.
The one thing he can't do.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's like I mean, I get that they want to put Mervis at first and get him reps there, and he's like, I've seen him make quite a few good picks in the few games he's been up, but it's like Hosmer's known for his glove. Why is he playing DH? But I don't know. That's kind of the only perplexing thing that's happening for me right there. But yeah, I mean I really like seeing Pittsburgh and Cincinnati being competitive and them also having what seems like the deepest farm systems. I mean the Cardinals have one, but I don't know if they're going to use it. That's the thing. But um, it's
You
exciting.
mentioned the Reds guy compared to O'Neill Cruz. Does he slide better or is it the same?
I haven't seen it. Last I saw, he hit 3 balls 116 miles per hour, so I don't know that he felt like
He
he
doesn't.
needed to
He
slide much.
doesn't need to slide. He
No,
just
Yeah.
Get to
needs-
it's more of a
sliding, you get home
trot.
runs. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 5.5 years younger than the average AAA player, and he's got a 929 OPS. Can play short right now. Will be better at third. Probably Marte's the best shortstop coming, and he's a year behind these other three guys. Their current shortstop Barrero can play some center field and has this year already, and their outfield's a little lacking. So if you're the Reds, I call up all three of these AAA guys, put Barrero in shortstop, move Steer to
Is that-
full-time first base.
You said that Marte is the one. Is he the one that came over in the Castillo trade for the
Mhm.
Mariners? Okay.
He's the best all around out of these guys because he could play short. McLean is playing short. Ellie De La Cruz is playing some short. They're kind of double team shortstop in AAA, but Marte is the answer there long term. It sounds like.
Luis Castillo, my AL Cy Young pick, I think.
No.
Great
Was it?
hair too.
Beaver.
You had
Oh
Beaver.
yeah, I thought Bieber. Yeah, my bad. I know I talked about Luis Castillo.
Yeah,
Some-
yeah.
We have.
Yeah, he's
Good artist.
filthy. So yeah, I just wanted to
Watch
highlight
that.
some of those guys as
Yeah.
we're talking about. It's not too late in the Central yet to fix your problems. So I think the key is going to be what GM tells the vets you're not getting the job done. Let's use the young guys first.
Either
Yeah.
Central also, but we can talk about the other one a different
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
maybe
sure.
Next week,
Awful divisions.
Yes.
Cleveland by 15.
Yeah, there's still a chance.
That's awesome. There is. First one to 80 wins the division.
Yeah.
Man,
But before we continue on, I watched the Cardinals Cubs game last night, and Morel is his last name. Is that right? What's his
Yep.
first name?
Christopher?
Dude hit a bomb,
Yeah.
and I mean that was cool to see. And he seems like he's a fun guy in the clubhouse. A lot of cool energy about him. So that was cool. And I know your favorite player, Dansby. I mean, dude looks pretty good in a Cubs uniform, man. I ain't gonna lie. He's playing some good baseball, so it's kind of cool to
Oh,
see.
yeah.
Did
Morel,
you see Flaherty's quote about Dansby's homer? Well, it wasn't directly about it. I
Is
texted
it
you
one
guys
he
right
threw
before
a
I got on.
90-mile fastball to him, or
Yeah,
what?
Derek Gold asked him about his velocity, and Flaherty's like, "I do what I want my velocity. Stop asking stupid questions about my velocity. I can change the speed if I want when the situation dictates." I'm thinking, situation dictated a 90-mile-per-hour home run pitch? Like what? What situation
it was-
dictates that? It was
it
a
was
weird
a-
quote.
it was a fit that a baby would throw.
I saw Morel because they're playing in Chicago against the Cardinals, like him and Contreras met and Morel gave him like a big like jumping bear hug. And like Contreras was just like sitting there holding Morel, and it was cute. So, it's always fun to see those fun moments in baseball.
Speaking of Morel, did anybody go mushroom hunting the past couple weeks?
Oh my God.
Season.
Moving on.
All right.
Jared, Joe, who wants to go next?
I'll let Joe go. He can go.
No, go ahead, Jaylee. You're on the
No.
agenda. It's next, man.
Oh, well, I canceled out my agenda, but what we'll talk about here is I think the country is going to be somewhat divided, I would say, on this. And it's talking about having fun in baseball and the unwritten rules and what you do and what you don't. Now,
Ooh, there's a big book. Talk
mhm,
about some of them, Jaylee.
I ain't got time for that. But anyway,
No, I said some. Just some.
no, well, I'll let you read the book. So last week, I think it was last week, Wander Franco, Tampa Bay, shortstop, fields a ground ball. And, normally people give you the 1-2 pump over to first. This dude picked the ball up, spun it to himself in the air, caught it, and fired it. Now, you know me. I love having fun. I thought that was hilarious, and I'm surprised no one has tried it before him, if I'm being honest. I saw Brian Reynolds came out today with a quote and said that he saw it, and he was like, yeah, it is what it is. like was just nonchalant. But I'm sure there's a bunch of older people who think you shouldn't do things like that in the game, or not a fan of it. But I kind of wanted your guys' thoughts on that before I continue on with some other things that
Maybe
my boy Randy did.
maybe like certain people with gray in their beards. But no, I loved it too. I think the particular hitter that he did it against was a questionable choice. Like I would pick and choose those moments when it's a little bit like a Dan Vogelbach maybe who's hitting you a ground ball. Yeah, you could do the whole juggling act. He pulls out a couple
Yeah.
balls.
Wasn't it Reynolds
Yeah,
that hit it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it was
Reynolds hit it. So that's what
it was a pretty close play. So that's like
Yeah.
it's great. The first time it doesn't work for you.
Oh
Do you,
yeah.
Do you
I
bench
mean,
him? Like is Cash? If you're Kevin Cash and he flips it and he doesn't get him, do you put him on the bench?
That would be my point too. Like you can't give away outs and you can't give away bases. So I mean, I don't have it doesn't make me like want to bean the guy at the next plate,
No.
but I mean, if you drop that, if you pimp the homer that one hops the wall and you get a single,
Acuna.
like that's so
yeah,
terrible.
I'll sit you
If-
for that.
No.
Here's an example I would use. Maybe like a ground ball back to the pitcher where the batter doesn't even run. Okay, like pimp that thing out to first, but on a ground ball where you could easily kind of juggle it or something happened, the guy beats you out. If I'm a coach, you're probably not going to play the rest of the game. If you don't make the play, you make the play, maybe you get the talk of, hey, let's
Joe, manager of Not Fun League.
Also, I would like to apologize to Dan Vogelbach. I didn't mean to be mean to you. I'd still like you to come
Put
on
him
the
on-
pod at some
No.
point. if
No,
you-
don't
Cooney,
worry,
you're keeping
I
track
added-
of that list, right?
I added him to the list of people who aren't showing up. Yeah, we're good
dang
there.
it.
Okay.
Well,
Dude, I appreciate Dan Vogelbach and Lance Lynn because
Still got a chance.
Got a chance.
no, I mean, well, Vogelbach did the commercial, so he makes fun of his own speed a little
Did
bit.
you see his hair last week?
Oh yeah.
By the
with
way, I'm
Lindor.
eating, everybody, if you're watching this on YouTube, because I haven't eaten in like 10 hours. I missed supper. It's late. I'm munchy. But yeah, Vogelbach has like cornrow tight ponytail thing.
It looked like
going on.
Lindor. I think Lindor did his hair.
That good call. Could be.
Hmm.
It doesn't
That's
fit
cool.
Vogelbach at all, but then it kind of does. So
Yeah, also, his jersey doesn't.
Fit.
Dan Vogelbach, you come on the show. Corey won't be there that day. We'll make him disappear.
No, but I loved it. I
Nah.
don't want to
Permanently.
like I'm all for fun. I don't also want to be a manager of the Not Fun League. I'm just saying that the one time you flip it to yourself and Billy Hamilton's running to first and you don't get him out.
Or you
on the bench,
manager of Not So Fun League.
That's at least it's not just the no fun league. It's
Yeah,
just
we're
not
good
so
there.
fun.
Hey, I'm
Yeah, no,
still
like I
allowing
said,
it.
I figured people would be kind of what you guys just kind of discussed. I mean, to me, like, I don't know. I don't care. You could do it when what?
No, I was gonna ask, are you gonna bring up the other one that was kind of
Oh, my boy Randy?
viral?
Yeah, so one of the greatest celebrations ever, obviously. Because he hit, and you guys sent it to me because he hit a home run, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So normally
This
he does it.
this
like,
is when you can do it.
If he's standing at second base, he hits you
Well-
with that. He's done it in the outfield too when we were at the World Baseball Classic. He did it there too. So he's rounding third, stops, hits that, goes home, and then gets plunked later on.
Right in front of their dugout, though.
Mhm.
They were the third base
Who
dugout.
cares? It's the same thing as a bat flip. It's the same thing as a pitcher staring you down. Like it is what it is. Like, I don't know.
Ozuna used to do the selfies in front of the other team's
Yeah, come
dugout
on.
while he was good. And he's bad, so he doesn't do it anymore. But
But like,
You
to
don't
me,
like
that's
it, don't give up a bomb.
That's my point. So
Yeah.
why are you gonna be mad and plunk the guy? Like that's Skip took the words out of my mouth. You don't like it, strike him out, and then you can do your own celebration to him. That's what I would want if I was a
Mhm.
hitter. Like if I just hit a 400-foot shot off of you, and the next at bat you strike me out, and you do some type of dance, I'm like, I deserve that because I just pimped that home run.
and who
So-
got ejected after all this?
The pitcher.
Kevin Cash.
The
Oh,
Rays
yeah, sorry.
manager.
It's wild. So
Yeah. So
I don't know.
what,
That's
what's
baseball,
their thing
man.
in there.
so
No.
I don't know. A lot of fun that they're trying to take away from us fun players, but whatever.
Also, I mean, if like I think the Rays specifically can do pretty much whatever they want right now.
Correct.
Like whatever. Who cares?
You win, you play.
Yep. If you win, you win.
That's accurate. Yeah.
You win, you win.
Yep.
No.
I'm a little bit because there's nothing that can happen. Like he's already hit the homer. Like the result of the play is determined. Like Wander doing the flip. Like there is an instance still where that turns out bad. Again, I love that he did it, and I love that it worked. Just the first time it doesn't, I'm gonna be a little peeved.
That was a nice little story about Wander Franco, Jared. Thanks. All right, Corey, take us to the weekend predictions.
Sure. All right. So our weekend predictions from last week.
Yeah, I dominated. Don't even have to tell me.
I haven't even looked. I really don't know.
Nobody did very well.
Oh, good.
Jared was above 500 with a 3-2 record, and everybody else was 2-3. So, one of us was slightly above average, and the rest of us were slightly below.
Story of my life.
Season rankings?
Season rankings coming right up.
So we're basically NL Central.
What? Where?
One's okay, you can look at it, and the other ones are like, why are we here?
Yep.
That's the NL Central.
So Jared is 13, 11, and 1. Joe is 13, 11, and 1. Aaron is 12, 12, and 1. And I am 11, 13, and 1. This is getting very confusing. So
Or you or what?
11, 12,
Fourth place. He's in
11,
fourth.
11,
I guess tied for
13, and
third.
1. I'm last. Last by a game. Jared is up by a game. And you guys can figure
Jared and
out.
Joseph
I
are
thought,
tied.
yeah, well, me and Jared are tied.
Oh my. Yes, that's correct.
Come on, stat man, keep track of the stats.
You need me to make a spreadsheet for you?
No, my spreadsheet's not updating, so I just did all that in my
how
head.
spreadsheets work. We can do that.
I got a mustache, so I get an extra point for that. So
how many extra points do I get?
They actually get taken away for a big gray beard.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's ageism. We don't tolerate that in the workplace.
You're not over
opportunity.
40, so it doesn't apply.
That's true. You're not a protected class.
Workplace talk, yeah.
Well, that's
sorry. If you're not over 40, it doesn't matter. We're moving on to our prediction. We're gonna start this weekend's prediction.
The host is gone.
With
oh, he's back.
Two teams that have been fun so far this year: the Pirates at the Orioles. I'm gonna take the Pirates. I know everybody's on the Orioles bandwagon and talking a lot about the Orioles. They got Mitch Keller going on Sunday. I think there's
he's got one good start in a month in him.
No, he had a very good start to the season altogether. But I think
the first hot hands get.
Yes, I do.
Hotter.
They get burnt, I believe. Whenever you try to take the pan out of the oven, is how that saying goes.
Put that on a t-shirt.
It's a long quote.
Just make the font smaller.
Who you got, Jared?
Pirates.
Crow Armstrong's jersey right there.
Well, I've said it since the beginning of time. I knew the Pirates would come back down to earth eventually. So I'm gonna take the Orioles.
Everybody keeps taking my credit for the Pirates coming back down.
Sounds good.
I was the first to say it. I made a PowerPoint about it. I knew
and then you voted for him every week.
And you stole. Y'all stole.
I never voted for him.
You all stole.
And then you yelled at me. We go back and listen to last week's pod. You guys were like, "Oh, you voted for them and not the Pirates."
Yeah, Diamondback.
We did that again this week. Interestingly enough.
And nobody.
So, yeah, I mean, these two teams are like. How do I do this?
One goes up, one goes down. There you go.
So, I'm gonna take the obvious winner of Orioles.
Okay.
Yeah,
Aaron?
Orioles all the way.
All
no
right.
research needed.
I've got Rays Yankees is the next one. The Yankees just lost a series to the Rays, and I think they are in desperate mode, and they have Judge back. So I think that they somehow find a way to take a series from the Rays. So I'm taking the Yankees. Jared? Okay. Yeah.
We are not picking the Yankees. We're going with
Okay.
the Rays.
It's very confusing.
Yeah, I mean, they got Judge back, but they still have some of their
No
better
play.
players not playing.
You know what they say about the hot hand? It's burnt when you take the pan out of the oven.
You know what they say about guys on the injured list, right?
They're a lot like Mr. Glass.
That's right.
They're like potholders.
So who are the Yankees playing again?
The
I'm going with the Rays.
He doesn't even know who they're playing.
I just know I'm not picking the Yankees.
We know a lot about baseball, guys. I'm glad you're sticking around
We're
for this
smart
one.
guys.
I'm sorry I don't
I'm
know
going-
every schedule for every team that's coming
I
up this week.
said at the
We've
beginning
only
of this.
do we need to redefine agenda again?
Let me pull the agenda up.
What?
Go ahead. I got it.
I'm going Rays again.
So everybody
along with you
except
guys.
me. Yeah,
So
okay.
Corey's gonna look really smart, or really dumb again, guys. It's
Yeah, this story went
Well, when you're
Well,
in
he's
last
in
place,
last
you start
place.
to get desperate.
yeah. So
Watch for the Cardinals. You do the same thing.
well, we're going
There
to
we
talk
are.
about the Cardinals because the next series is the Cardinals, the Red Sox, and when I picked this, it was interesting because the Red Sox were very hot and the Cardinals were very not. Cardinals, I assume they lost today. I haven't looked recently.
It was
Yeah.
10-3 last I looked. So.
Yeah, so they took 2 or 3
They
from the
almost came
Cubs, so
back.
they're, if you ever want the Cardinals to turn it around, just have them play the Cubs. But I'm gonna take the Red Sox. Just their offense is really good. Masataka Yoshida, somebody talked about him in the first episode. He's having a really good year. Not striking out, walking a lot, which is no relevance to anything that we've talked about in this episode. So I'm taking the Red Sox over the Cardinals.
Cardinals.
Yeah, my boy. My boy.
All right, does that mean you're also taking the Cardinals, Joe?
I think I said one week that anytime the Cardinals are on here,
Well,
I'm taking them.
I didn't know how we're feeling.
Oh, I
about
mean,
your-
they're gonna maybe win 40 games, but hey,
They'll
3
take
of
this
those will be
series,
against
though?
the Red Sox.
Yeah, okay.
I'll take the Red Sox. They just split with the Braves. Braves threw a bullpen game today because my boy Freed on the IL. But Chris Sale didn't pitch, so that means Chris Sale's gonna go against Cardinals, and
Yes.
he's acting like 2016 Chris Sale. I don't know if he was injured that year or not, but pick a year he wasn't injured and really good. That's him again.
I have his ERA at 6.37.
Yeah, thank you. I had that pulled up earlier. So, oof.
Look at his last start.
Yeah, he made Bryce
he's
Harper
getting better.
pretty
3
slow.
really?
Dude, he was blowing 99 by Bryce Harper with ease.
Yeah.
He's the last
Bring
start.
that into Andrew. See what
Kisner?
happens. Yeah. It'd blow by him just like it did Harper.
Okay, I didn't know where that was going.
All right, next one is the Astros at White Sox. The Astros and White Sox have both had, I think, based on what their outlooks
Why did we
were,
pick this one?
I like this
because
one.
they're both had
They're
bad
both under
starts.
500, aren't they?
Yeah, the Astros are bad. Like both teams need to win this series, so that's why
This
I
is
picked
an
this one.
easy pick.
I know it's not the Astros for you. I keep putting the Astros on here, and I know you're not going to pick the Astros, so I don't know why. What are we doing here? I'm taking the White Sox because I think again it's the desperation factor. Like the Yankees have the desperation factor, the White Sox have the desperation factor. I'm not sure how analytics classifies that desperation factor, but it comes in there somewhere. So I'm taking the White Sox. I assume you are too. Moving on,
I guess say nothing.
Joe.
Can you tell me who Houston will have going? I don't have them pulled up right now.
Pitchers.
People
Thank
that
you,
throw the
Zach.
ball.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. I'm out here making sure the field is perfect for all these fielders, and you can't even literally click a computer and tell me what what the matchup would be.
You have the same capabilities that I do.
I'm going Houston because they don't stink. Well, maybe a little bit.
Houston,
But
we have a problem.
Oh gosh. Hunter Brown going, Javier
Yes.
going. Who do we know? Hunter Brown both?
Hunter Brown.
wow.
Javier's going. I thought Javier pitched yesterday or today.
I don't know. I'm asking. I'll
No,
take
that's what I'm saying.
Astros just because I want our picks to be different.
JP France on
Yeah,
Friday.
they have the weaker part of their rotation going.
So you took the Astros,
I'll take the Astros too.
and Joe also took the Astros after.
Yeah,
he
I'll stick
yelled
with
at
them.
me.
I just want to
Uh,
diversify the picks.
Next one, Padres at Dodgers. Mostly just picked it because of the rivalry. I don't know that it's been particularly close as far as how these teams have performed. I do like the Dodgers. I know they've got May and Gonsolin, and then somebody else. I knew it and I've forgotten it, but I liked their lineup of pitchers better than the Padres. I don't even know if the Padres had announced who they're starting yet. Whenever I looked earlier,
Padres are all healthy, right? Darvish, Snell, Musgrove.
They got Lopez, Ober, and Gray going.
that's the Twins.
Huh?
That's the Twins.
That's the wrong team.
What am I looking
Lugo-
at?
I don't know.
Who's
Lugo
playing?
with tonight.
They have Snell. It's Snell and May on
That's
not
it.
Friday.
It was a good
Oh,
run,
okay.
guys. We got
Musgrove and
7
Urias on Saturday.
Is that funny?
You're just very confident about it.
Well, I'm trying to do your work.
I have my predictions already picked. In Waka and Gonsolin on Sunday.
Jaylee, who you got?
Padres.
Founded by the Germans.
San Diego.
Joe?
Cooney's scared. I have LA. I'm continuing to be high on them. I'm not exactly sure why, but they're playing better.
San Diego.
All right. So
They're playing the Twins though. Hey, at least I didn't pick 2 AL teams to be in the World Series. So laugh at
that's a
yourself.
fair criticism. I did laugh at myself. So for Pirates Orioles, we've got 3 Orioles to my 1 Pirates. Rays at Yankees, we've got 3 Rays to my 1 Yankees. Split on Red Sox Cardinals, split on White Sox Astros, and split on Padres Dodgers. So it's should be interesting. I believe that none of those are the same. So it's always fun when that happens. So we're locking in those predictions. We shall see who looks smart and who doesn't. Although I would say based on our record so far, we all look like we're pretty average.
Except
Well,
for
I mean,
me
I
and
think
Jaylee.
there's a couple people in first place and a couple people not. So
That's true.
All righty. Well, I think any closing arguments from the jury? That's not who makes arguments, but okay.
Yes, actually, sir, I would like.
Until next time, don't forget to
but the fans rest their case.
rate
Your
your
My floor is really dirty.